She returned a torn wallet left on a park bench, not knowing it belonged to a billionaire who was looking for someone just like her. She almost walked past it, a torn, weathered wallet sitting alone on a park bench. No cash, no ID, just a faded photo of a little girl and a crumpled note that read, "If you find this, do what's right." She turned it in anyway, expecting nothing. What she didn't know was that the wallet belonged to a reclusive billionaire, one who had planted it on purpose, searching not for money but for someone honest. And her choice? It would change her life forever. Ladies and gentlemen, lay down and relax. Also, don't forget to subscribe my channel for more interesting videos. Thank you. The park was quiet on a crisp afternoon, the kind where the sun's warmth still clung to the earth despite the cool breeze. She had been walking aimlessly, trying to clear her mind after yet another disappointing day at work. Her job, filling out endless reports and answering calls, left little room for inspiration or purpose. But as she wandered through the park, something caught her eye. A torn, weathered wallet abandoned on a bench, looking out of place amidst the natural beauty around it. She hesitated. The wallet was beaten up, practically falling apart at the seams. She leaned in, glancing around, but the bench was empty. No one was around. Without thinking, she picked it up. There were no IDs, no credit cards, no money, just a faded photo of a little girl with a smile that seemed almost too innocent, and a crumpled note that read, "If you find this, do what's right." She stared at the note for a moment, the words seeming oddly significant, almost like they were meant just for her. It wasn't much to go on, but in a world where people often didn't care enough to notice, she felt compelled to do the right thing. After a second of deliberation, she tucked the note back inside the wallet and walked toward the park's entrance. There was a police station nearby, and it was the right thing to do, wasn't it? As she entered the small station and handed the wallet to the officer, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had done something important, even though the gesture seemed so small. She left the station, not expecting anything in return, just happy that she had followed her instincts. Little did she know, the wallet wasn't just a forgotten object. It was the first step in something much larger, a test of character, and the person behind it was watching her every move. It had been a month since she turned in the wallet. Life had gone on as usual, and she had long since forgotten about the torn leather and the crumpled note. She had no idea that her simple act of honesty had set in motion a series of events that would forever change the course of her life. One evening, after a long day at work, she found a mysterious letter waiting for her at her apartment. The envelope was plain, with no return address, and the handwriting was elegant, yet unrecognizable. She opened it cautiously, unsure of what to expect. The letter read, "You have no idea how rare your honesty is in this world. Most people wouldn't have cared, but you did. I've been searching for someone like you for a long time, someone who still believes in doing the right thing, no matter the circumstances." Her heart raced as she read the words. The letter continued, "I am not a man who seeks fame, fortune, or attention, but I believe in rewarding integrity. I have seen your actions, and I want to offer you a chance, one that could change your life forever. Meet me at the address below tomorrow evening, and I'll explain everything." The address was one she recognized, a high-rise building downtown, known for housing the city's wealthiest and most influential. A chill ran down her spine as she thought about the possibilities. But despite her doubts, she found herself unable to resist the pull of the mystery. The next evening, she arrived at the address. The building's sleek, modern entrance felt cold and imposing. She stepped into the lobby and was directed to the elevator, which took her up to the top floor. When the doors opened, she found herself face to face with a man she didn't expect, someone she had only heard of in whispers. He was tall, with an air of calm authority, dressed in a suit that seemed to belong to another world. His eyes, though, were warm, almost searching, as if he had been waiting for her for a long time. "I'm glad you came," he said, his voice smooth and confident. "I know this might be strange, but I had to meet you. I needed to find someone who still saw the world the way it should be, through eyes that believe in doing what's right. She blinked in confusion. "Who are you?" "I'm someone who has everything," he replied. "But what I've lacked is the one thing that money can't buy. Honesty, integrity, someone who acts from the heart." The realization hit her like a wave. The torn wallet, the note. This man was the one behind it all. He was a billionaire, a reclusive one who had engineered the entire scenario to find a person who had the courage to do the right thing without expecting anything in return. "I've spent years trying to find someone like you," he continued. "Most people would have stolen from me, used my wealth for their own gain. But you returned my wallet. You didn't even hesitate." Her mind raced. "You were testing me?" He nodded. "Not just you. I've done this with hundreds of people. But you passed. And that's why I'm offering you something. Something that could change everything." She waited, her heart pounding in her chest. "I want you to work with me," he said. "Not just as an employee, but as someone who will help me shape a company, a vision built on trust, integrity, and honesty. Values that have been lost in the business world. The world is full of greed, but I want to change that. And I believe you're the person who can help me do it." Her mind was spinning. This wasn't just a job offer. It was a chance to build something real, to have an impact on the world. And it all started with a single decision she'd made on a quiet afternoon. A decision that, unbeknownst to her, had caught the eye of a billionaire searching for someone who believed in doing what's right. In the weeks that followed, her life transformed in ways she couldn't have imagined. The work was challenging, rewarding, and unlike anything she had ever experienced. As she worked closely with the billionaire, they built something that was more than just a company. It was a movement. Together, they proved that integrity still had a place in the world, and that sometimes the right choice, made at the right time, could change everything. And every time she walked through the doors of their office, she couldn't help but think back to that torn wallet on a park bench, the simple decision that had changed her life forever. As the weeks turned into months, she found herself growing more deeply embedded in the billionaire's vision. His company was unlike any other. It wasn't about profit margins or market share. It was about creating something real, something that would outlast any amount of wealth. Every decision they made was driven by a moral compass that, at first, she had found almost idealistic. But as the company grew, she began to realize the depth of his mission. It wasn't just about business. It was about changing the world, one decision at a time. Despite the success they were experiencing, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to his actions than she understood. He was always present, always involved, but there was a certain distance in his eyes. It was as if he were waiting for something, waiting for her to prove something, or perhaps waiting for her to see something about herself that she hadn't yet realized. One day, while reviewing a new project proposal with the team, he approached her in the office. She was seated at a table surrounded by blueprints and reports when he stood in the doorway watching her. "How's it going?" he asked, his voice calm but purposeful. "Great, everything's moving ahead," she replied, not looking up at him immediately. She was so focused on the work that she didn't notice the shift in the air. He walked over slowly, taking a seat next to her. "You've done more than I ever expected. I knew you had integrity, but I see now that you've got vision too." She finally looked up, her gaze meeting his. There was something different in his eyes now, almost like he was searching for something in her that hadn't been there before. "Thank you," she said, a little taken aback by the intensity of his stare. He smiled, but there was a quiet sadness behind it. "But there's something you don't know about me, something you never could have guessed." She frowned, the words hanging in the air like a heavy cloud. "What do you mean?" "Remember the wallet?" he asked, his voice soft. "The one you found and returned without hesitation." "Of course," she replied, her pulse quickening. "That's how we met." He nodded, leaning forward. That was just the beginning of a much larger test. But it wasn't just about testing your honesty. It was about something deeper, a question I've been asking myself for years. I needed to see if you had the same drive I had, the same hunger for something more than just success. Something meaningful. She sat back, the weight of his words sinking in. But why me? Why didn't you just build this company yourself? He paused, his expression growing even more serious. Because I couldn't. I lost myself a long time ago. I had everything, the money, the power, the influence, but I didn't have the one thing that really mattered. Someone who could see beyond all that. Someone who could see the truth of who I really was. Comment for part 2.